Hello, it's Tristan here from ZebraInvest, and today I'm coming to you with a cracking video all about short leases. I've got a few more videos coming along all about them as well. So what we're going to be running through today is what is a short lease, what is a short lease flat, why it's interesting, why you might want to invest in them, and give you a good background to get started. After that, I've got a couple of other videos coming up for you, anything from how to calculate a lease extension premium, what is the strategy and why might you want to do it, the short lease game changes, and how you can actually find short lease flats online, on market, and how you can delve in, find those properties and target motivated sellers that need help. So what is a short lease? So typically a short lease is a property where it's got 80 years or left on the lease. So the idea being that over time, when initially someone signed up and bought the property, they would have bought, say, a house or a flat for a certain period of time. So it could be 99 years, 125 years, 250 years, or even 999 years. Guinness is known to have the longest lease, or one of the longest leases out there. So the idea is that when someone has built a block of flats or built a development, it's typically freehold. So they have the plot of land freehold, and then what they have then done is they've effectively issued a long tenancy agreement to you. It's an agreement that you can be within that property for a certain amount of time. And then over time, inevitably, that period gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So you've never actually owned the land that you're in, you just own the right to be in your flat and what that lease allows you to do. That could also be with the parking, maintaining it, looking after it, painting it, fitting out your own kitchens and looking after it. But slowly and surely it comes down. And the whole idea is with the lease is it allows you to contribute towards communal things. So say for example you've got windows in the building, or you've got hallways, or you've got smoke detectors that need fixing. It allows you to contribute towards those all together and have a responsibility to look after the building together. In more recent years, it's been used so that each part of it actually has a residual value in it for the freeholders, whoever's developed it. At some point, the lease slowly gets shorter and shorter, and as the lease gets shorter, part of the value of your property goes over to the freeholder and part of it remains yours. So after 80 years has passed, that's typically when most lenders look at a lease and think it's a short lease. That's when marriage value comes into play. And what I said earlier about as the lease gets shorter, well, part of the value of your property goes back to the freeholder, because the freeholder still owns the whole building, and effectively you're only renting part of the building off them. So then it's what's called a reversion. So at some point in the future, your leasehold flat goes back to the freeholder. But this is where you can do a lease extension. The whole idea of a lease extension with a Section 42 notice is that you can extend the lease, and you can serve notice on the freeholder to extend the lease by, say, another 90 years. It's a statutory lease extension. Or you might be able to negotiate something private and have a longer lease extension. But you want to make sure it's done sooner rather than later to make sure you still own the property. Typically, what happens is if you can renew or extend your lease before 80 years, that's before the marriage value comes into place. So you might get a lease extension where your lease extension value is maybe 20 to 30 times what your ground rent is. So if you do have a flat or a house and your ground rent is, say, £100 a year, £200 a year, it might be as simple as just a multiple of what that is. Otherwise, you have to use a lease calculator, or you're going to use a surveyor. Typically, a surveyor is going to be the best way to do it to be able to get done. But as it gets shorter, the value of the lease extension increases because part of the value of your property starts moving over to the freeholder. So initially their land, when they've had long leases granted, their land is going to be worth very little, unless there's hope value or the ability to then extend or develop or build somewhere else on the site. But say for example your property gets down to 80 years, well slowly your property that might have been worth say £200,000 is now worth £190,000, but 10,000 of that almost is going over to the freeholder. And then as it then gets shorter, you all might get down to 180, and then their value of their freehold goes up by another 20. This isn't exact math as to how it works, but that gives you a rough idea. Over time, your property might come down a little bit lower. So that gives you an idea what a short lease is. I'm going to jump into, in the rest of this series, all about short leases, how you can use them as an investment strategy, and in the next video, I'm going to run through how you can calculate lease extension and what you need to pay. Quick and easy ways to do it. Hopefully you found this video useful and it answered a few of your questions. If you've got any comments or questions, please drop them in below and hopefully I can help you out. Subscribe and we'll catch up with you later. Bye.